Okay, welcome back to another episode of the number one rule NRL fantasy podcast, week 6. Yeah, week
Round
6.
Yeah.
With Tom and myself, Jackson, here this afternoon for another episode. We're going to break down the teams a little bit and go through some trades. So a few headaches this week, Tom.
Yeah, 3 headaches indeed, mate. Big headaches for me with Capewell going down early.
I think that affected everyone.
He was one of my star signers. I was very, very happy to have him in my side at the back row. He was really killing it. But medial ligament, I think the NRL physio said so minimum of 10 weeks. So
Jesus, yeah,
he's definitely a trade out. A lot of underwhelming performances by some guys in the mid-range with Drinky and Pappenhausen as well. I've got some questions to be asked. And,
I think we still did pretty good though. Yeah. What score did you get?
Well, considering the worst but best thing that happened to me last week was Lolo played, and I didn't get Teddy. But then if he didn't play, I would have got Teddy in. So it's a bit of the double-edged sword for me. But still went on well. I ended up drawing again, believe it or not. I don't know how I've drawn twice in the same league, 2 weeks in a row. So it's ridiculous. Ended up with 894, considering I made the terrible decision of getting in Fuimeano and took a punt on him. God. Got 17 and I got Capewell, got 3. Look, and I didn't have Teddy, so considering that, to get close to 900s there, I was very happy with my score. So how'd you end up there, Jacko?
Yeah, good. I think for the first week I beat your scores. I'm cheering.
937 for yourself.
So I got Teddy last week, which I was chezzing about. Captain Haas, Lolo, had Moses as well.
Cleary a bit disappointing for both of us and for a lot of people, owners after holding for 2 weeks.
I feel like we both got Moses and Cleary, and I feel like either one does good and the other does rubbish, or vice versa. So just happened to be Moses over Cleary last week.
Mate, what has Moses done wrong over the last couple of weeks? Seriously, he's got to be very considered into your team. The lowest he's got was 43. And then a 48. The rest have been 89, 65, 67. So he just seems to be just rolling out the numbers with a break even of 46. I mean, it's pretty decent for one of your primo halves. So
considering all that, and I had like a Torah as well, ended up getting 937, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, exactly right.
So yeah, that pretty much
covers our results.
Yeah, let's have a look at the teams for
round 6. A couple changes in a couple of the teams, so we'll get into it. Thursday night again. Guess who the Brisbane Broncos are playing? Exactly right. Brizzy versus Newcastle. So a little bit of changes with the Broncos side. Nothing too much. Probably the biggest news if you're a Corey Pax owner is the signing of Isaac Luke. Definitely going to eat into his minutes. I've heard word
he's playing this week too.
Yeah, I've heard word that Luke's definitely going to come into the bench spot. But from my understanding, from what I've heard, he's come in knowing that he's going to play that secondary role to the Turpin or to the Paik. So hoping Pakesy can still get off the 50 minutes. Yeah. But to be honest, what's Pakesy at the moment? He's got a break even of -4. So even if he can jag 40 minutes, 50 minutes,
he'll be okay.
He'll still be making money.
Yep.
So
Oates back to
the wing for finally some normality.
TPJ back into the side.
Yeah, probably another fantasy relevant thing. Tony Staggs out with a grade 2 hamstring strain. Probably if you do own, I know a couple of listeners do, it's definitely you've got to trade that with a lot of centres. Bit of up and down with Capewell as well, so you've got to get rid of Katoni as well. So
I think it's like round 7 or 8. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly right.
Nah, not 7 or 8. Is it 7 or 8?
Yeah, no, I think he's 4 to 3 weeks, so you're looking anywhere around grade 8 to grade.
That's right, 8 to 9. Yeah, cool.
Herbie Farnworth could be a little cheaper option in starting centre for a couple weeks. But it's just hard. I wouldn't be getting him myself. Other than that. Tavita Pengai's back if anyone wants to jump on that. Could be an option.
He's like a pretty cheap second row option.
Obviously, but with Pengai, you don't know how many demerits he's going to get for trying to take someone's head off.
He's going
so
if he gets banned for life.
He could honestly be sent off and get a -20 deduction. You just don't know. So moving on to the Knights, had a pretty quiet fantasy night for Ponga last week against the Storm, so looking to bounce back.
Man did pretty good. Best did okay with a try again.
Yeah, so Best, I jumped on board with Best this week, so that was a good idea. Just with the price rises, I thought it would be crazy not to.
Yep.
again, I guess you really haven't missed the boat completely, but you're really starting to swim out to it. It's docked. It's gone past.
Yeah, the later you leave it.
Yeah,
I feel like
-4. With all the centre problems, I wouldn't be talking you out of it. Definitely not.
Especially if you've got Capewell, you can straight swap to best.
Exactly right. Other than that, Andrew McCulloch is a big option for me this week for the trade-ins, just with his stats. I know you're all over him.
Yeah, his price is mid 600s. Yeah, no, low 600s, and since he moved to the Knights, playing 80 minutes, he got 69 and 68, and that's pretty much just off all tackles. So he's an option.
I will bring up your Mrs. Mate has got a little tip for the
Sione Matautia at second row. So he's got dual position centre and second row. So I don't know. He looks pretty good.
Had a really good game last week. Whether he can keep that up and made 50 tackles. Whether the Knights are going to be needing to make that many tackles is another question.
I mean, he could be an option. He's a bit cheaper than best.
Look, honestly, to be honest, I think we're both pretty clear on this. If you can get 40 average out of your centres, you're pretty happy with that. That's why Lomax is still around. I mean, he just keeps going on. So
yeah, his average is 46.
So you could definitely have worse options. It just depends on what fires you need to put out. But other than that, nothing else really for that
from that game. Yeah, happy days.
Moving on to the first Friday night game, you got the Rabbitohs and the Warriors, Jacko.
The Warriors, Buzz. So I'll go through the Warriors if you want to look at the Rabbitohs.
Yeah, sure.
Warriors team, you got Jermaine, Snell-Brown, still doing pretty good, holding that position in the front row. Katoa still holding his position well in the second row.
Nice 66 last week.
Yeah, that just dropped his break even right back down, so he'll be still making more money. I'm just trying to think who else is kind of relevant.
Look, there's not
really anybody.
How can I?
I know Hiku got a score last week, a good score, but he scored a few tries.
He's legit scored 3 tries.
So I don't overlook.
Roger's been a bit disappointing this year. I know he's only averaging 41, considering. Look, I know they're not getting a lot of attacking stack, the Warriors, but from the amount of ball that he's been getting, I thought he would have been a bit higher. So he's only averaging 41.
Don't rate Roger at the moment.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that. One of my big smokies, as well as a good mate of the show's Ivan tip, is Latrell Mitchell. He's a very good option when you've got the DP at centre there. Obviously, though, we all know when it comes to Latrell, you can get 87, 70 odd one week, and you can get 30 to 13.
His scores have been 14, 10, 34, 63 and 74. So like...
The last 2 weeks he's really kicked on, and his break-even's down to something astronomically low. I think it's down to 4, so it's definitely an option where you can do the straight trade from Capewell to him nearly. So definitely could have worse in your centres, but don't be surprised if he pops out at 20 here and there.
I think Best will be more consistent.
Yeah.
But Latrell, he can pull
but if he keeps these scores going of 70 plus, he won't be that price anymore. So if you want to jump on the price that you bottom out. Other than that, the Souths have a very, very favourable draw if you're liking any Souths players coming up. They've got the Warriors this week. They go on to then play the Panthers, and then they're going on to the Bulldogs, and then on to let me just get this up, and then on to the Knights. So the pretty good draw if you're wanting to jump on to Latrell or anything like that. Other than that, nothing really too fantasy relevant.
Yeah.
With
the other thing
Cam Murray maybe.
Yeah, Cam Murray, I think his score was around that 50 mark, maybe a little bit less last week.
Funny that we're talking fantasy relevancy and we don't mention Damien Cook. He might come into something very soon, but I wouldn't be rushing him in at all until the front row can start getting some go.
The last person I'll touch on for Rabbitohs is Sewer as well, so I've still got him.
You still running with Sewer?
A lot of people still got him in our league. He might be... I'm going to hold him this week, but... Maybe the next few weeks might be a sell or an upgrade to someone. Yeah,
well, if he can keep banging out some good scores, if you've got some spec cash, you can get him to a Yao or a Lolo possibly. So
next game, Storm and the Panthers. So who do I want to look at? Let's go with the Storm. The Storm's, I guess, a little bit unchanged from what they were the other week.
I think the only change is Christian Wealth starts at front row for Brandon Smith. Look. No
Hughes
real.
is still out. I mean, I don't think
Hughes named it at 21,
anyway.
but
still had to miss another week or two.
Wouldn't be jumping on Riley Jacks for that news anyway. Look, really, one of the main talking points is Pappenhausen.
Oh yeah, you've got Pappy.
I've still got Paps. He's only averaging 38.
Is he a sell?
For me, no. I'm gonna hold him for a couple more weeks just for the fact I've got more fires to put out, but even though I'm just waiting, I just think there's a monster store coming, and whether that proves me an idiot, I don't know. I just think if Pap's your biggest problem, you're looking pretty good. So I would be holding Pap. Yeah. I just think he's got a couple more weeks to prove to me. Break even of 42, so that's what he's scoring anyway, so he's not going to be chucking a whole lot of cash down the drain. So hold for me.
If I had him, I'd probably hold him.
If you've got Cameron Smith, well done to you. Still pumping out, still one of the
80,
fantasy legends.
84 last week. So it's pretty crazy.
Moving on to the Penrith, big outs is probably Caleb Aikens. He's done his job. Well, not really.
Probably shouldn't have had him anyway.
But he's definitely a trade out now. He's not in the team. Dylan Edwards coming back.
Dylan Edwards, he used to score really good. Not last year, the year before. He was actually pretty consistent. But last year, he just lost the plot.
Yeah, and so, I wouldn't be racing him in just to see. I'd see definitely a round or two. Can be a tackle breaker. Other than that, Cleary was a bit quiet last week, but nothing to get too worried about. Still keep it there. Yeah, you're jumping off the Luai bandwagon. I still think he can still.
Oh, he's okay. I don't mind him, but I just think
obviously losing minutes to
Burton's still in, so
still at 18 break even. Look, this is where I stay. If he keeps getting picked, he's bound to go off and break a couple for a 50 soon, which will restart the whole point again. But obviously, if he starts getting less minutes to Burton and he gets dropped, in fact, it is time to upgrade. Look, he's done his job. Basement stat all the way up to 400k. So
yeah.
Also, Capewell has been named out of this side. We'll get on. We did cover that before. So
yeah. Yo as well. A lot of people have got Yo still.
Yeah,
he's still scoring.
Yo could be that could really benefit Yo as well, with Liam Martin coming to the starting side, not taking as many minutes off him. He could be playing a whole 80 and now for Yo.
He was playing 80 already.
Yeah, so he played a shorter game the last game. Basically it. If you've got Yo or can get him in, wouldn't be talking you out of that. So yeah, probably it for that game, Jacko, and for the Friday night thing there.
Yeah. The game before Yo played, yeah. Yep. Okay, next game, Titans and Dragons. Who do you want to go into?
You go the Dragons, and I'll go Titans.
Yeah, so Dragons, just going through the list. Lomax is still ticking along, making plenty of money. Looks to be maybe a centre keeper if he keeps scoring how he's going. One guy I've got, Clune. He's still kicking goals, making a fair bit of money, doing what I kind of want him to do. So, who else we got in the Dragons? Mcinnes, obviously the pinnacle hooker. If you can afford Mcinnes, definitely get him. But I think we're all just trying to find money.
He's going to be $1 million in the next couple of weeks. So if you're absolutely desperate to get him in, probably be close to now.
He's like the next Haas in terms of price.
So what they're looking to do is play him 20 minutes at hooker and then just play him the rest at lock,
which I think is good for him.
Which not only gets the same amount of tackles, it just gets him a couple more runs as well. So I mean,
it keeps him on the field.
If you got him in early, congratulations. I don't see how I can get him in. So
sell yourself. One guy that you got last week, Tom, which I just think is insanity.
I got Fumiano on a wish and a prayer. I just thought.
I know what you thought.
I thought he had
dual position.
Yeah, and he had the.
But have you watched him play before?
I have, and I talked you out of getting him earlier in the year. But I just thought he's playing the Sharks and the Titans in the next 2 weeks. He should be there for at least 4 to 5 starting, and he got 69 when he started in the second row before. It was very hurtful watching him get a great total of 17. So,
mate, he'll be changing clubs in 2 weeks' time again.
Yeah, just who knows. But I've got him in. I've got to ride him out. Hopefully he gets a better performance against my Titans.
Yeah. What have we got changes wise from the Titans?
Titans, we bring in the new recruit Corey Thompson into starting fullback. So bit of a mid-rangey, not the worst. I think his BE's around 20.
No, a couple of years ago he was pretty good.
Yeah, but obviously it's a bit risky to bring a guy in straight away.
560 he is, yeah.
Minus averaging 50 from his last performance with breaking 25. So obviously wouldn't be jumping all over that. Just wait and see with the games there. So one change there probably that I'm not a big fan of with Corey Thompson coming is you got Tyron Roberts in the emergencies. We both own Jamal Fogarty. We're hoping they can still Jamal can still play.
What would happen? Like Tanner Boyd's still there. Like
I'd assume the only risk that it runs is Tyron Roberts just comes in for Fogarty, obviously with Ash Taylor being the more favoured half. But Fogarty popped out at 46, still plugging through, making money. So I hope that doesn't happen.
As long as he plays this week,
exactly
he should be right.
Other than that, nothing much to report. Aaron Clark's still a good option for a cash out, which I might be looking at later. So yeah,
happy days. Next game, Saturday, Tigers Cowboys. So let's have a look at the Tigers. What changes we got? Luciano Leilua is named despite the injury suffered last week. So, which is probably good news for owners.
Keep an eye out on that late. I traded him last week to upgrade to a couple just to get best because I needed some centre coverage once I knew Capewell was down. So I made that decision there, which I didn't really want to do, but is what it is.
He was nearly peaked. I mean,
he's exactly right.
That, he's nearly hitting 50 score, which is a bit annoying sometimes. But
owners keep an eye out late to the late mail news, just because obviously if he is ruled out, I think he's nearly a sell. No reason to have 600k there when you've got guys like Teddy you can upgrade to where they're not too far away.
Exactly. So we've got Dewey on the bench. I mean, not on the bench. Dewey at fullback doing his thing still, just ticking along, getting decent scores. Twal, he looks to be like I guess if he keeps getting the scores, he's going like a keeper.
Well, if he keeps going the way he's going, he'll be in my team when
he's getting more expensive. He's at 800k.
He's at 800k, so you nearly got to make your decision if you bring in a primo. I'm pretty sure he is front row.
Nah, just front row.
Just front row. So, so you just got to make that decision. He's obviously a massive keeper, but just depends who you want more, really.
Yeah, and then Harry Grant continuing to just punch out.
Harry Grant has a wrist injury he's got to come over too, I did see. So keep an eye on that late.
Yeah.
But probably just
surely plays though.
Keep Appy still in your starting if you've got him and just have Grant in your reserves. Yeah. I mean, interchange, sorry.
The boys. So what do we got? Lolo. Lolo's still pumping out scores, which is good.
74 last week. Kyle Felt ruled out is probably one of the bigger talking points, and the hammer. Missio, I'll just go with that. I'm just calling the hammer now at fullback. Definitely a good cash out option. Does come with a bit of risk, obviously.
What's the job security like though?
I think I think even when Val comes back, he keeps that wings position. No. So Hamisio should still keep that wing position. When Val comes back. Sorry. So that's still there. Whether you trust an 18-year-old, nothing against it, but not like a skinny kind of speed-based guy that's not going to get a crazy amount of tackle breaks because of that.
It's definitely the week to get him if he's playing fullback.
Yeah,
though.
Definitely. And like I've heard Val could be out for 1 to 3. So if he's out for 2 weeks, I mean, if he averages 40, you're going to see some massive price rises. Then goes back to the bench. So big smoky that I've got thinking about as well for me is Reece Robson.
Reece Robson. You had him in too.
Yeah, I had him in pre.
What's he been getting? I haven't even.
So he's starting. He should be starting. He should be starting and playing 80 minutes.
He got 61 last week. That's solid.
Exactly right. So obviously a lot of injuries for the Cows last week with McLean and Val going off. So that could be a bit of red herring there. But looks like you've got Ben Hampton on the bench, which I don't really see him coming on if he does, not playing a lot of hookups. So definitely a good option for me.
Just
there.
Be utility kind of.
Break even of 19 could really see some price rises there. So that's definitely someone to keep an eye on.
Interesting. Yeah, a bit of a smoky.
Game of the round this week.
The Eels and the Chooks.
Eels and the Chook, two teams that are absolutely flying at the moment.
So Tedesco, thank the Lordy
King
for getting
Teddy.
Tedesco. Yeah, I was cheering on Monday night.
Yeah, I regretted not doing that. But like I said on the pod last week, I was only going to get Teddy if Lolo was ruled out. Wasn't ruled out. I couldn't afford him, so it is what it is.
Yeah, so he scored a few tries. He's not going to get that every week, especially against the Eels next week. But keep a fullback.
Jacko, I'll bring this to you though.
Yeah, talk to me.
Teddy for me is definitely an option to get in. There's no doubt about it. Like he is on one of my top radars. Everyone says you can't expect that score. Mate, he's played 2 games, obviously not playing Brisbane because of the temperature with these new rules, and he's gone 94 and 111. So by that logic, do you have any reason to think he's not going to go anywhere?
He's not going to average 100 every game.
No, obviously not. I'm not saying that. God, don't quote me there. But when you've got a guy with the new rules that he has been playing and the way he plays and getting a 94 and 111, I mean...
His average is over 100 for the last 2 games.
Exactly. That's right. Insane. It's 104 or something like that. Ridiculous. I can't see a reason that if you can afford him, I don't know how.
You want to get him this week, I want to get him this week.
So
he's going to, his
obviously,
break-even's low.
If you expect 100 a week, don't. But, seriously, the last 2 times he's played, he's got 94 and 111. So
if you don't get him this week, he's going to end up in that bracket that Mcinnes and Haas are in, where it's like you literally have to sell 2 good people to get him, which is not what you know.
Where if you wanted to get a Latrell, this is my thinking, if you wanted to get a Latrell, you could find a way to get Latrell in next week if you had to, where Teddy, if you don't get him soon, it's nearly impossible. You've got to trade a gun for a gun when they
nearly
get
trade a gun and someone half decent.
Exactly right. So Sam Verrills was a late exclusion from the team last week, so maybe something to keep an eye out for Jake Friend. Angus Crichton.
Angus Crichton killing it. At lock?
He is,
he was a lock last week?
Playing back row.
Was he?
80 minutes, yeah. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out. So he's been absolutely killing it. The third most traded in person in fantasy this week. So yeah. Got 82 last week. What was his last couple scores? He's scored in the 64, 81, 82.
Since the new rules, he's gotten 64, 81, 82.
So obviously, all those games have been a pretty big win for the Chooks. So, but yeah, definitely someone for a bit of a pod option.
The Chooks have picked up their form too.
Yeah. Well, you just see from the new rules, mate. That's why you've got to kind of get all over Teddy. But other than that, nothing really big. Victor Rally's still plugging out 50 scores if you want to get a bit of a pod option too.
Yeah.
The Eels.
Lindsay Collins back to the bench too.
Lindsay, so he's done his stint. Lindsay Collins, good player. Don't get me wrong, but you just not from the bench. You can't rely on the minutes that he's going to get there. So, moving on to the Eels. Not a great fantasy relevant team. Ryan Madison's been playing very good footy. He's missed to 50 points. If you just need someone to get 50 points, get him in your side. Got 71 last week, but very rarely goes under 50.
Yeah.
Moses still plugging along. If you've got Moses, happy day. If you don't, probably consider getting him in. Very, very consistent of late. So other than that, nothing
not
crazy.
Not much else to buy in, really.
Yeah, exactly right.
Lovely. Manly and the Raiders. So
good game.
Another good game.
Manly's got some outs if you want to go through that, Jacko.
Manly outs. Tapau's out, so he did his thumb or something like that.
Yeah, dislocated thumb, and then Moses Sully compound fracture of his finger, so they're both out. So losing 2 stars really of their side. So that could be definitely some.
I think they're just short outs though, aren't they? What's Sully out for?
Well, Sully's out for I think 2 to 4. With a compound and Martin, dislocated. I heard that he might play this week, but with a dislocated thumb, geez, I know I wouldn't want to be frigging playing.
Yeah, Cherry Evans did good last week.
Solid gun. If you got him or want him, no arguments here. He's just going to keep playing.
I feel like the 3 gun halfbacks to have a Cherry Evans, Moses, and Cleary.
Yeah, Turbo is a bit disappointing at the moment.
Turbo let a few people down. Not let down, but just not the best score.
But he's one of those guys where he got 2 try assists, mate, but then still ended up on 35. What are you on? Like, it's just not relating to fantasy scores at the moment.
He's just so different to Teddy. Like it's
it's just crazy. But obviously not a bad option at his price for the fullback.
Yeah.
Adam Fanua-Blake plugging out some okay scores. Wouldn't be rushing him in though with the likes of who we got Haas and Carrigan and all those lots.
Wow, yeah.
Other than that, nothing really to report. With the Raiders, nothing much either. Corey Horsburgh comes back from that 1 week off with gastro.
600k.
Yeah.
He's like, now that Bateman's...
Well, now that Bateman out, you can have the legitimate discussion that he could be just an out-and-out keeper kind of thing, keeper style, but... Joseph Tarpany's still plugging through. I'm very happy that I went with him round 1.
Yeah, he's like your pod that just keeps
ticking away. Averaging 50 points on a break-even of 22. His price changes for the whole year. He's gone up 130 odd K. So look, it's hard to talk down about that. So
that's looks like
Emre Gula. I know that was a popular cheapie. I've traded out. He's probably one to move on from. He's not going to get a whole lot of more minutes. So definitely. Couple options there. No one else really relevant in the fantasy-wise.
Last game of the week, Sharkies versus the Doggies.
Riveting game.
Oh, mate. We'll be hanging around for this one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Fafita was back last week. Didn't do wonders. Kind of, not as good as he used to be back in his heyday at fantasy.
Look, see if he bottoms out, maybe get some match fitness back, and he starts getting on again. But I wouldn't. I'd be getting away.
Heaps better options.
Big news for I've traded out. I know you haven't yet. Blake Brayley.
Yes.
Should be playing 80.
Good. Yeah, good for Brayley holders. I know I definitely held him. Got 37 last week, but he came off around the 55th, 60th minute, something like that, to Connor Tracy. But yeah, Connor Tracy's not in the side this week, or he's not in the 17 this week. So it looks like Brayley should be playing most of the game, which is good. If he plays 80, he should be able to get closer to 50 rather than his mid-30 score. So yeah,
he can knock out a 50 or 60, get backs on track for
yeah, if you've got him, definitely hold him.
I wouldn't be getting back in or anything like that. I'll bring him in this week.
Rudolph
named to 14. I don't know why. He just is so valuable. I think he
keeps getting 40s off the bench.
Off the bench. Why would you not hold him? I came into the starting side last week. I get that, but they just need to play him some more minutes. But yeah, obviously solid. Wouldn't be bringing them in, but if you've got him, well done. Just keep letting that tick over.
And then the Bulldogs.
Yeah, let's move on. You don't. I mean, you could talk about one person. You could maybe make an argument. Will Hopewadi with the dual position, moving a fullback. I mean, Jacko doesn't even want to bar it. He just wants to move on.
I know one bloke who has one fella from the Bulldogs, and that's Jerry Marshall King.
And he's leading our league this week, so year, so he's 5-0. So
yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be rushing anyone in from the
Bulldogs fans.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Well, I'm a Titans fan, so I can sympathise. So
yeah. So let's have a look at the trades, Tom. This is like the big talking point of the week. Who do we trade? What fires do we put out? What are you thinking about?
Well, for me personally, and I'll just talk about, I think a lot of other owners and coaches will have this problem, is Capewell.
Yeah.
He's got to go. He's 10 weeks. It was great as it was. He's got to go. Clears up a bit of cap space for you.
Yeah, he was good for 2 weeks.
Yeah, great for 2 weeks. He wasn't that good. But it is what it is. He was a good pickup. Got to go now. So, trade option for me as well as Drinkwater. I know you're not so fancy on that, but he just hasn't been... Great footy player, but just hasn't been kicking on the fantasy side of it.
Yeah, he's been a bit disappointing.
Break even now 44. I think he's done his stint. I mean, you could, if you really want to hold one more week against the Tigers, but I really think you're clutching the straws there personally. So I think those are two that you've really got to be considering to trade out, if that's from my team. And then, basically, if you've still got your Withy Armies and all those kind of guys, I think it's time to move on. I know, especially when you can go down to guys like the Hammer, from the Cowboys, who's still going to be making money. Still a little bit risky, obviously. My main targets to get in this week, I've got a couple, so not sure on which way I'll go.
Yep.
Still deciding, but Teddy's definitely one. If I get Teddy, I might go down to a Aaron Clark or a Hammer to get my little cash out.
I think they're the main two.
Aaron Clark, if he keeps his spot, obviously, and there's no reason why he could not. Hammer probably got a little more job security knowing that I know.
Cheaper though?
Yeah, a couple like 50k more cheap, got more price off. So Hammer, a bit more security knowing that I know that he's going to the wing, where you've got the Nathan Pizzas of the world for Aaron Clark and stuff like that. Or for me, I'd go a Latrell down to a cash out option as well, just to fill that centre spot. And just leave me a little bit extra. That'll leave me a couple 100k in the bank or more. To then, if things get dire, I can smash someone else or something. So those are for me. Those are my targets. It's definitely time to start getting in your cashies now, because once you get to the round 10, you really want to be conserving those trades. Those are the way I'm looking at it. So I want to be at least 12 trades when I'm halfway through the year, so I can just plug that in. It's going to be hard, definitely, but. Just remember, you still are going to need trades towards back in the year, even with a shortened season.
Don't rush into it. No, that's a good point. I think a lot of people are going to be trading out Capewell, and that's what I'm doing. So I thought I'd run through the options for centre. So Mataudia is the...
Go on the misses route.
Apart from Best, Mataudia is up there. Or if you don't have Best already. And then if I wasn't going to get one of those two, it would either be... I'd probably just be Latrell. You could probably argue like Dylan Walker, Fulmayano, but...
No, Fulmayano.
I think if you really wanted to get the most bang for your buck, it would either be, Best, Mataudia, or Mitchell. I wouldn't really be going towards anyone else. I mean, apart from people we already have, like Lomax.
Yeah, so everyone should really have the Lomax. So, I agree, Jacko. Definite option for your centre if you're desperate.
So my trade pretty much this week is going to be Capewell to Best, I think, or... probably Mataudia maybe if I want to save a little bit more money for next week. So yeah, do you want to have a look at some of the better break-even?
Yeah, let's go into the break-evens because it's probably something that with the current form where people are wanting to try and get Teddy in it, which I am, and I can only assume people are with these current last 2 games. So
yeah, so apart from the people we don't already have, top break-evens, you've got Pakes.
Don't get too scared off about Isaac Luke coming in. He's still going to make some money. So
-4.
Yeah. The Hammer.
The Hammer's got a break-even of 1.
So, yeah.
Good option.
Especially starting fullback for at least 1 week.
Yeah. Another cheapie. Is this guy playing this week?
Averillo, yeah. He got named on the wing, though. He's not playing centre.
Yeah,
so.
Averillo's got a break-even of 2 from the Bulldogs.
So could do work. And he's legitimate basement price at $2.23.
Yeah,
so,
a good cash down, I guess. Tanua Brown from the Warriors.
Still plugging
break-even
through
at
2.
Which is good.
Dufty's got a real low one, but I'd still be steering clear of Dufty's on 3 break-evens. So, Tommy Tuala, definitely someone who it was a chance, but obviously got injured.
Latrell's break-even's 4, which is pretty solid.
Which is really solid.
And then the rest, starting to creep up when you get 10 plus kind of break-even.
Yeah, exactly right. So,
steer a bit off them.
Aaron Clark is definitely still one with a nice little break-even.
Yeah,
so
he's one we've already got.
He's on -3, so I still think he's a good little option. Again, scares the crap out of me that you've got Nathan Peets and Mitch Rain lurking in the background. So,
yeah.
But he's kept his spot for this long, so you can only go off what you've seen. So
yeah, definitely glad you got him a couple of weeks ago. But I think it's not.
how old is he now? 303. I mean, you've only lost about 50, 60, 70 odd K plus, and he's still got a minus break even. So definitely not the end of the world, and probably a bit more consistent scorer than what the Hammer's going to be. That's my views on it, at least.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into the number 1 rules this week. Tom,
look,
have you thought about it?
Yeah,
really?
I got a number 1 rule. My number 1 rule is just make your decision and go with it. If you want Teddy, just if you can get him, get him.
So pretty much get Teddy.
Pretty much. Well, I can't say that because I'm not even 100% sure. I can, but so you need to put out. My thing is, if you got all your spot fires fixed where you can have a centre, and if you want someone, get him this week, especially if it's like a Teddy or a Twal or a very good player, because you're not going to get that extra 150, 200K in the future. That's my kind of number 1 rule. So fix your spot fires first, but if you can be a bit luxurious, I would say.
Yeah.
Still don't be afraid to bang on a primo because they're going to be in your team at the end. It saves you a trade down the end of the road anyway.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's good. That's really good.
You're going to go the missus tip and get Matautia, mate?
That's not my number 1 rule. So this week, I think for the number 1 rule for myself is just think about the end game and your end team. For me, I've got an extra trade I can use this week, and I was going to do it to possibly change drink water out or sewer out. But then it kind of got me thinking, you really need to be thinking about who your final team is going to be, and is it worth trading? Like, for example, my fullbacks are Turbo, Teddy, and eventually I want Ponga. So is it going to be worth trading Drinkwater to someone else to then trade down to Ponga? Or can I just wait and then upgrade him to Ponga straight up instead of burning trades? Because, I don't know, you got 17 trades, I've got 16 trades.
Yeah.
If you're chewing through 2 trades every week, just swapping out
we've
people
still got
that don't
14
need to be
rounds
traded,
left.
yeah,
so
you're going to run out.
You can't do 2 a week. It's just not viable.
Yeah, so just think about the end game and your final team before, I guess, making too many starting changes, and then use your emergencies and your interchange players to kind of
get that
upgrade and downgrade rather than thinking about your starting side. So that
wraps us up for
any
another
other
week.
Any other final points? Any bets for this week? Any tips or anything like that?
Jeez, it's a tough week to be tipping, actually, to be quite honest, looking at some of the games.
If you had to put a bet on,
if I had to put a bet on, number 1 bet, I think Rabbitohs beat Warriors 13 plus.
Oh, yeah. I've got that in a multi already.
Yeah, so I think that's the best bet, because who knows, out of the Sharks and Bulldogs, there's a lot of tough. I'd hate to be tipping.
I'd probably go, if I had to put something on, I'd go Tigers 13 plus to beat the boys. I cannot see the boys scoring many tries at all this season. And until Morgan gets back.
Tigers did push Canberra as well. That is very good.
They were woeful. But yeah.
Take that with a grain of salt, to be quite honest. Yeah.
Probably don't put that
on. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening this week, guys. We'll try and get this podcast uploaded tonight.
Yeah.
If you do like the content so far, feel free to jump onto YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Or also check us out on Instagram for
if you have any questions on Insta, we've had a couple
updates.
Put it through.
Haven't had many comments yet, but we're just doing it for fun.
Yeah, exactly right. But if you have any questions, happy to answer. We'll always jump on and give us your thoughts, give us our thoughts. So yeah,
too easy.
No dramas, guys. You have a good one.
See you next week.